everyone. I'm Linda Bennett, your spiritual counselor and psychic host for Metaphysically Speaking. And tonight we are doing part 2. How does evil get created? You know what? I'm not happy with this angle with just my head hanging in the middle of the air.
Okay.
So just sort of looks like it's a talking head. Maybe we could get a little bit of neck. That's better.
There you go.
Okay. I didn't want you to think my head was sitting on a table or something and I had been elsewhere. This is part 2 of what we covered last time. And it's going to be, how does evil get created? And is there anything you can do about it? And are you watching that show, Lucifer? If you know the truth about angels, go ahead and watch it. If you do not, don't watch it. Except for, and write this down, Series 5, Episode 10. If you like Broadway shows, if you like great talent, watch this particular episode, 5, 10, series, year 5, season 5, show number 10. Now, that doesn't mean to say there aren't other song and dance numbers throughout the program, throughout the years, but this whole show is dedicated to music, and it is fabulous. Now, I'm not that excited about most TV shows, so if Linda's excited, you can pretty well be assured it's worthwhile, even if you don't see the rest of the series. Hopefully now after last week, and you can catch us somewhere by checking us past shows, 2 weeks ago, we're on every second Tuesday, every fourth Tuesday at 6 p.m. and Eastern time. So pay attention, mark your calendars, and you'll always know where we are. So this is going to be on how does evil get created? Did God create it? What happens? Etc. And I think I'm on season 6. I didn't know there was a season 6. And again, the depictions of hell are rather accurate. From my personal experience of being brought down there by archangels years ago, which I talked about last time, so I don't want to be redundant, but astonishingly accurate. So if somebody else had an angel experience or a near-death experience, and their near-death experience was to warn them about what would be created for them so far, if they continued on that particular behavior that they were on, if they were on that path. So, and now don't forget, the Catholic Church officially declared there's no such thing as purgatory, which nobody else in the world ever thought there was purgatory. So it's the level that you are on in the heavens and in hell. Okay.
A little confused, if I may. So does heaven...
That is my executive producer.
Hello. Does heaven exist?
Yes. Of course.
And does hell exist?
Yes.
And what is purgatory?
There is no.
And
that was because the Catholic Church didn't know what to do with people who were really nice but made a couple of mistakes, and everybody would think, oh, they went to hell. No, they were sort of hanging out somewhere, unbeknownst to anyone. So now they've really decided that, well, there's no such thing as purgatory.
So, Linda, could you explain what happens when someone dies and they're mixed? They were pretty good. They had some bad moments. What happens with them?
Okay. From my personal experiences and experiences of others, including, what was he, a neurologist, wrote a book about his own near-death experience. And he was one of those doctors that I dealt with years ago. I know I told you I had 2 psychiatrists who work with me, but other doctors, one came like that because his wife made him come, and she sat in the car. When I found out she was out in the car, I went to get her and I brought her in. And when I got finished with him, he said, well, maybe what you're saying is true, because he thought there was no such thing as God. And I got news for you. With the wars and the nightmares and the torture and the tragedy and the hatred of women in all cultures, I'm reading now about 2 women who were heads of countries one from France north and one from north south. They were sisters-in-law, and how they governed. One governed for 26 years. I forget what the other one governed for. And everybody sort of clouded over them. And one was rumored to have consulted witchcraft in order to get her powers and get her first husband killed. You know what, people? I am so sick of people hating women, and that includes other women.
What year was that, Linda?
This was in like the 900s, something like that.
Okay.
And so therefore, this has been going on throughout history, where women's efforts have been diminished. And you have no clue how many queens and pharaohs were female. And so therefore, until all of this stops, until hatred, until anger, until hatred of women, and it's the jealousy and power mongering and testosterone of men, not all men, a lot of men. And the men who aren't like this don't do anything to stand up and say, knock it off, guys. So that's not protecting us. So therefore, hatred of any kind is evil. And I don't care if you're a member of the Daughters of the American Revolution, wherever I'm ticking off at the moment. Why are you proud of that? Because war is war, and many good people died. So why don't you just say Daughters of America and make yourselves popular in your communities by doing good works, as I'm sure you're doing now, but don't celebrate war. Don't celebrate and encourage the testosterone and the conquering and the killing and the amassing of nations together like Putin is doing. Putin thinks he's Stalin. He thinks he's Napoleon. And the other big secret is that the area that he wants, which is not just the Ukraine, but it's Uzbekistan and Tajikistan, etc. And what's there that he wants? Well, aside from a seaport, a warmer weather seaport, they have the largest finding of uranium in the world. Now, wouldn't it just be great to have to purchase your uranium for your mines, for medicine, for all kinds of things, not just blowing people up? Wouldn't it be great if you had to purchase it from Putin? So that's why he wants, maybe as we speak, he's busy invaded. He's actually partially already crossed the borders into the areas where Russian people live. Well, is he going to take over Brooklyn? It's a huge Russian community there. So just because you have people who used to be in your country with Russian heritage doesn't mean you have a right to that country. And nobody's stopping him because he's very powerful and they're not quite sure just what kind of weapons they have. That's evil. Not stopping him is evil. There is a difference between Lucifer, who was an archangel, and is not capable of doing anything that is not of the highest good, that is not God's instructions, wishes, the way archangels are programmed. He is not capable of stepping out of that role because he doesn't have it in his genes. Even though there are astral genes and etheric genes, he doesn't have it. So therefore, there's a difference between Lucifer and what Jews and Christians call Satan, or I just call plain evil. Please understand that. It's the key to understanding evil and good. Now, when you die, from my own personal experiences, I was pulled out of my body. I'll talk about the this third drowning I had. I don't remember the first two. I just remember about my parents talking about it and my neighbors talking about it. But I was very little. And the third one when I was 6. And my father used to think it was great to throw me up in the air and not catch me. And so down in the water, in the ocean, I'd go. And off Long Island, the shells are very sharp because they're crushed and crushed and crushed. And you just have mats and mats and mats and mats and mats. And I say mats because there's not a couple here and a couple there, but it's globs of shells, sharp shells. And my body was hitting them. My body was hurting. My body was hurting. And suddenly I was out of my body and I was watching my body, and the tide was coming in. So if you've been to the ocean, I know there are a lot of people who live in the plain states who've never seen the ocean, which those of us who have been to the ocean and lived at the ocean, you think it's kind of crazy, but that's the way it is. Go watch National Geographic or PBS, and the ocean waves come in, and they come in further and further and further. And so you get caught up, especially when you're little, you get caught up in the wave and crash down, and caught up in the wave and crash down. And I was watching myself, and I was watching my body go up and crash and up and crash and up and crash. And meanwhile, I realized I was hearing most beautiful sounds, like an angelic choir, which is what it was. And on either side of me and behind me were angels. And they just, and everything was gold and peach and pink light. And I was taken whoosh up into the sky, up into the universe, where everything was dark except for the starlight, which of course we know are burned out suns, but they look like stars. And it was absolutely magnificent. And we were just going faster than the speed of light, is all I can say, but slow enough for me to be able to observe. And then I saw this gigantic opening of beautiful white light and figures waiting for me and saying, come on, come on, come on. And I was so happy. And I had a bad childhood. I'm not the only one in the world, but I had a terrible childhood, and full of violence and alcoholism, etc. And the love that I felt pouring out and surrounding me was indescribable. And I just went up into the opening, and I was loved, and I was held, and I was hugged, and people were laughing, and they were joyous. And I saw a Mary Mother who had been with me my whole life, at 6 years old at the time. And another Mary who I did not know was Mary Magdala, and Buddha and Yeshua, and Saint Anne, who I did not know at the time was Mary's mother, and a great healer, and also a priestess, and other beings. I have no idea who they were, but I was so surrounded and flowing through me this incredible love, just absolute incredible love. And I just did not want to leave. And then the next thing I know, I'm sailing through the universe again, looking at all the stars and looking at the solar systems and just being amazed. And I was accompanied by the angels again. And then I was breaking through this difference in the energy and difference in the breathing. And then I was in clouds. And I said, look at all these clouds. They're beautiful, and they're fluffy, and they're cool, and they're wet. Wow, this is crazy. And then I looked down, I was below the clouds, and I said, oh, what a sunny day. Oh, what a beautiful place this looks like. Oh, why do I seem to be moving towards it? And then I realized I was looking at a long ocean. And then I was looking at a beach. I said, what a beautiful beach. Oh, this is so pretty. There's nobody on it. And I looked over here, and there were tons. I said, why is everybody over there? What's going on? What's going on is a wrong thing to ask. Never ask what's going on. Say, I want to go home. And so I got closer and closer and closer. I said, oh, what happened? Did somebody got hurt? Oh, what a shame. Oh, it looks like a little girl. Oh, what a shame. The little girl got hurt. Why does that little girl look familiar? Boom. I was laying on my back, and I bounced and coughed the water up. I said, oh, it was me. And they said, oh, yay, she's alive. And the guy's continuing to push, and more water is coming out. and I was back. And that was awful because I never wanted to come back from that kind of love and that kind of, without any kind of reservation, without any kind of wishes or trying to put something on me or trying to, like, say, impose something on me, I should say. Just pure, enthusiastic, exciting love. And there's nothing on the earth like it, unless you get kissed by a baby animal, whether it's a pussycat or a tiger. It doesn't matter. By the way, tiger, we just had the Chinese New Year, Year of the Tiger. So you can check it out and find out what year you were born, and it'll tell you. If you get a book on feng shui or get a book on Chinese culture, it'll tell you. So by getting kissed by a baby animal or nuzzled by an elephant's trunk, the way I was when I was 1.5 years old, maybe 2, that's incredible. But still, as incredible it is, it's not as incredible as the love you feel from the heavens. And that was one experience. The second experience was different going up, but the same welcoming, the same overwhelming, overpowering, but manageable. I use the word manageable because I can't think of another one at the moment. Experience of love, of complete and utter nothing else but love. And none of the human things that we think, well, they admired her or they were jealous of her. I mean, I've never been a great beauty. I was never one of those kids that, oh, what a beautiful child. No. Oh, look at her. She's so thin. Oh, look, she's got red hair. But no one ever said she was beautiful. Anything that you see is courtesy of eye makeup. So therefore, there was none of that. There was no human imposition of emotions or feelings. It was completely divine and there and given to you, surrounded you, through you, in you, out you, whatever. And so you will feel that again when you cross over. Unless you've been Putin, and I promise you on my soul, he's not going to get that. He's going to get something very different. If you've been a good person, that doesn't mean you never made a mistake, you've never called anybody an SOB, you've never had a little road rage, you've never wanted to strangle your kids or your husband or your wife. But then you think, oh, other people have it far worse. So he tracks his golf shoes in the house after I just scrubbed the floor. I'm giving him a rag. He's going to clean it up. And none of that. It's only pure, utter, divine love. And I will tell you that hell lacks that completely. There is no love in hell. That's one of the things that drives bad souls crazier, because there's no love. There is no light except this dull grayness. Like a lot of people paint their houses because decorators decided, let's move to gray. Let's get out of the happy tones and let's go to the neutrals. Let's go to gray. If you want to make people depressed and unhappy, paint gray. And I don't care what colors you put it with. Gray is one of those negative colors. Another one is brown, unless it's in wood and used as accents. So be careful what you paint your walls, people. Be careful what you paint the outside of your house. I'm praying that you never paint it gray, because that's one of the colors of illness. I'll show you, before we take a call, we have a call online. This is a real smoky quartz. And I say real because the really black ones that feel kind of dead are dead. They've been cooked. This has not been cooked. It's a natural terminated. That means natural points on each side. This is gray. And smoky quartz dissipates negative energy. But painting your room won't dissipate negative energy because it's artificial and it creates an environment you do not want. So, among other things, and most importantly, there is no love for you or anybody else in hell. There's no brightness, there's no lightness, there's no solar systems, there's no stars, there's no giant pyramids, there's nothing.
Carolyn on hold.
Okay, let's take a caller. Caller, first name and comment or question.
Hi, Linda. My name is Carolyn.
Hi, Carolyn. What can I do for you?
I've been listening to what you've said about heaven and hell. And I've recently had a conversation with a priest that was telling me that there is a heaven and a hell, but in between there's a purgatory, which is almost like a rehab if you've had a questionable life, and it prepares you to get into heaven.
He didn't get the memo from the Catholic Church. And is this man over, say, 70 or 80?
Yeah.
Is she?
Yeah, she said yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, she said, okay. He didn't get the memo, and that's how he was trained. When I was a little girl being yelled at by the nuns, one of the things I was yelled at is I said, there can't be a purgatory. God wouldn't do that. God would, and what they said for babies who were not baptized, that they were in limbo. I don't know if you were raised Catholic, but you were raised in limbo, and that means you didn't go to heaven, you didn't go to hell, and it was just a purgatory for babies, which I said was cruel, and that was also a lie. Well, get sent to Father Burns. There is no purgatory. What you do when you die and stay dead, in other words, you're finished with this planet or any other planet that you happen to be on, you rest sort of like on a bed, except it's a platform that's very comfortable for your back or neck, because when you die, it's just like leaving this room and going into the next room. You almost don't even realize it for a moment. And then your angels are surrounding you and you think, oh, okay, unless you've been prepared for it. And they tell you that, okay, this is your final crossing for this lifetime. And you can rest. If you're on medication, like say you've had cancer and you're on morphine, you stay that way for a while and you're resting and it's calm and quiet, but it's still light and your angels are with you. So then when you finally come out of it, because even though you're not in your physical body, you still have the memory of the medicine in your brain, so to speak, the part of the brain that stays with you, and the thinking part of the soul. And so then as you're waking up, you're surrounded by angels, say you're coming out of it, if you want to stay longer, blah, blah. And okay, let's go review. So they sit and chat with you while you're now sitting up. And then you find yourself in a nice room, whatever colors you like. And there's like a big blackboard there and they review all of your lifetime. And you remember every single thing, including what you got at the supermarket on a Thursday in June in 1210 or whatever year it is. And it's like sticky notes with what you did accomplish that you planned on and what you didn't finish or what you didn't even start that you had planned on. And what are the practicalities of moving it over into your next lifetime? Because we have reincarnation. And even Jewish people, if they study the Kabbalah, understand about reincarnation. And if you watch ancient history, if you watch the History Channel and Ancient Aliens on Friday night at 8:00, well, they show it, I think they started at 5, the different years and the different programs that relate to the new show at 8:00. You will make these discoveries from different people who have crossed over and died and then come back to life, and they've reviewed their lives. I don't remember reviewing my life. The second time I was 13 or 14. and I died on the table from masked anesthesia, which I wear my medical alert bracelet. No doctor has ever recognized it, even though it's got a caduceus on it. No one's ever noticed. But I did not have that resting on the bed experience. And so you review your life, you review the people who did everything with you, who've already crossed over. You see the people down below you on the earth who will be coming shortly. And one of their guardian angels comes up, and you make all kinds of arrangements. It's like, you think planning a wedding is a problem? Nothing compared to planning lifetimes. You plan 3 lifetimes ahead. So arrangements, you help make arrangements about who you want to be with based upon the lessons you didn't finish learning and what it'll take to get you to finish doing that, and who probably should be your parents and where you should be born. Should be born back on Earth, or is there another planet that's compatible with ours? The answer is yes, many planets. And should you be there because they're at a better level, or are they a lower level? And so you strategize and you find out where you should go. And then you spend time meeting others you've loved in this and other lifetimes. You catch up. You spend time, if you loved art, you spend time amongst beautiful paintings or sculpture, whatever you love. You spend a lot of time in nature, except snakes aren't going to bite you. And tigers or lions or whatever, if you like the jungle in Africa. Is no jungle left in Africa. Or did you like the animals in the desert? Did you like animals in, say, New England? You're involved in that. You're involved in the water. You can free dive and you're not going to drown. You spend all kinds of experiences and having those experiences for as long as you want, and continuing to talk to your guardian angels and continuing to make plans. Are other people willing to go along with you? Because they have things they have to take care of as well. So it's a big set of arrangements, but there's no purgatory. What happens is you then go to one of the levels of heaven that's suitable for your particular vibration. Did you get angry easily? Well, then you'll be in a level, in a room where people anger easily, but they're nice people. And then you'll finally learn the lesson. What are they getting so upset about? What did I get so upset about? I got to fix this about myself. And you begin to see the wisdom of why you're there. There is no such thing as purgatory. It is a review of your life in the level of heaven that is suitable for you. So you may want to tell him that, because if he's looking around for purgatory when he crosses over, he's going to be busy searching the highways and byways, because there is no purgatory. Does it answer your question? Is she still there? We lost her?
Yeah, I'm just still here. Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
You're welcome. Please go and tell him that. So that'll make his crossing a little easier when he crosses, because I'm feeling it's not going to be too long. Okay, thank you for calling.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
okay, thank you. Bye-bye.
I don't do death dates. And I don't do death dates because, for instance, I should have been dead when I was born. I was born dead. So I've had 12 near-death dates that I know of. And there's no such thing as overriding the wishes of the archangels, because they and your guardian angels will determine when it's your day. And nothing else, no one else. Now, if you commit suicide, that is another negative situation. I was looking in People magazine about how many people committed suicide since the holidays, and January and December are probably the two most suicide-loaded months of the year. December, they just don't think they can go through the holiday time. Everybody's happy and gay, and everybody loves everybody's presents, and everybody's not drinking. They think, I cannot go through another holiday again where so-and-so is drunk. I can't get beaten up. I'm not doing this, and they kill themselves. Instead of locating somewhere else, instead of, even if they don't have the money, just get on a bus and get out of town. Take the dog, take the cat, take the kid. Whatever you have to do, change locations. But you don't kill yourself. And there are people who think they've disappointed others. And one of the saddest things is having people now on the other side looking back at the lives they could have had and seeing that they weren't as awful as they thought they were. They were pretty terrific. Their expectations for themselves were too high. And so they are kept quietly. And as soon as they're ready, they're given the opportunity to reincarnate. But here's a problem. Once you do something like that, it's easier to do it. And I've counseled people who feel like they've committed suicide time after time after time again. They have dreams about it. They see it in meditation. They see it when they're staring at a candle on the table. They see it when they're looking at the ocean, and they can't get it out of their minds. That is because they've done it over and over and over. And even though it's unnatural, it has become their normal. And I tell them that's when you ask your guardian angels to help you overcome this. Because to do it again is to be on a hamster wheel that you can never get off. It's to ignore the blessings you do have. Because we have all have blessings. I have my daughter, my son-in-law, my little Gracie, my pussycat. I've had wonderful pussycats throughout my life. I'm very lucky that way. I have some wonderful friends. And even though at the end of the day, when you're sitting quietly meditating, you are by yourself. And I don't care if you're happily married or you have 50 kids, it doesn't matter. You are by yourself. And that's something that a lot of people can't deal with. They can't bear looking in the mirror. I'm very lucky in that I've never had a problem looking in the mirror. I've always sort of liked who I am. I've always thought, gee, I'd make a really good best friend. And I have been a really good best friend. We'll talk about friendship at another time because there are so many important points to that. But evil is when you do things that are unkind over and over again. Now, this is not God created. Keep that in mind. Evil is not God created. God created his love, his kindness, his graciousness, generosity, caring, nurturing, all the good qualities, all the wonderful things that you'd like to be surrounded with. But evil was created by every little teeny mean thing, every little teeny mean deed. And it's so anti-God that it zooms away from you into a spot somewhere in the astral world. And it began to grow. Because if it's not discouraged, it becomes a habit. If you've ever kicked an animal, if you've ever harmed an animal, I'm not talking about a dog biting you. Hopefully there's a rock and you whack them on the head. But anytime you've harmed purposely, anytime you've been mean, anytime you've been sarcastic mean, anytime you've done anything you wouldn't want God and the angels to see that they do, that collects and globs and forms and has formed a being of darkness, not of light, not of a soul, not of God, its own blob, its own negative energy, intelligence. Because every thought you had with that negative behavior or thought pattern is in that glob. So it's like a billion people together. They understand each other, but you can't understand it if you're not one of them. And there's a thing that's arisen out of it that's taken intelligence from all of the people and all of the thoughts. And we call that evil, or we call it Satan. Whatever the names are across the galaxy, that's it. That is a separate being until you invite it into your life. And those little pullaways of evil that you invite to you are called demons in English. There's other different names in different cultures, different planets. But let's, for the sake of argument, call them demons. They are not God created. They've been created by everyone who's been cruel, mean, nasty, domineering, controlling. And if you keep inviting it, because here's a trick, they make you think you're important. You're so important. I don't know why God didn't let you know how important you were. I don't know why your guardian angels didn't let you know. I mean, they're your guardian angels, not mine. I mean, why didn't they tell you how important you are? You're important to us. Can we come a little closer to talk about it? And you suddenly think, well, nobody else thinks I'm important. Nobody else thinks I'm good. Nobody else thinks I'm great. Sure, come on over. You're done for. All these stories that you see about poltergeists, which are troublesome, and I don't think they know what else to call these beings, because I don't think they want to call them demons on many of these shows, but they are. There is no limit to their cruelty. They don't play by rules. They make all kinds of bargains with you, but they don't keep them. They just want you to give them your energy, your mentality, so they can get stronger. You get weaker. You get drained. With these shows where people go in and they perform exorcisms, and exorcism is a legitimate thing to do, but the problem with exorcism, and I've been taught exorcism, I was trained as an exorcist, I do not do them. And that is something that most exorcists know. Oh, you can train other people if you want to bother, but it's a useless waste of time, because it's the person's karma that called it in. And until the person actually gets rid of it and says, get out, it won't stop. And the person has to be really sincere and really gather up all the strength they possibly can gather. And in their minds, in their souls, they want this evil out. And you say, well, what about, the fact that the exorcism worked? The demon's outside in a tree. We're sitting on somebody else's roof. We're sitting on the roof of the house, rolling around in mud outside, waiting for the exorcist to leave, very triumphant. And Zoom comes back in the house. Or Zoom comes back in the house and just lets you know. Tippy-toes around for a while and zaps right in again. Behavior starts all over. The only time it truly stops is if karmically you stopped. And the things that it's attracted to, aside from your mean behavior, is alcohol. I don't care if it's champagne, a beer, glass of wine, smoking, and illicit drugs. Now you're going to say, Linda, I just drink every now and then, or I just have one drink when I come home from work. Why? Have a glass of tea, have a cup of tea, have some lemonade. I love lemonade. Have lemonade. Have cranberry juice and orange juice mixed together. I came up with that years ago. I taught that to a couple of bartenders. I taught that to my father, who used to manage a big restaurant in New York, 3 floors. So suddenly now you can buy it in the store. Nobody gave me any proceeds on that. But things that you purposely do, gambling. Who literally wants to go to Las Vegas? Las Vegas was built by your dollars. Trillions of dollars have been spent knocking down hotels. What they're doing is they're laundering the money from the mob, knocking down hotels, building new ones, knocking other ones down, building bigger ones. That's all because you're stupid and you're giving them your money. They'll let you win every now and then. And you're called a whale if you spend a lot of money. They'll rig it so that you win a lot of money occasionally and you go back again. And you get a bigger suite and a bigger suite and a bigger suite. And if you're that kind of a person, you'll get hookers. You get all the amenities, all your meals are free because they know you're going to be spending $1 million. That's going to pay for the beds on the new wing they're putting in. Who would want to go to Las Vegas, which to me is probably one of the saddest places I've ever been in my life. Went once, never go back again.
Linda, what about things that aren't so obvious?
Like what?
Like,
I can't turn my neck. What?
you don't have to look. I'm just saying, like, you're saying things that are like super obvious: violence, drugs, terrible things that one would hope we're pretty clean and not doing. But what are some evil disguises itself as?
What do I always say? Evil presents itself to you in a form you think you need or a manner you'll accept. So say you're doing the martial arts. Taekwondo is rough on your back. Sorry, everybody who does Taekwondo. You're going to be sorry in the future. Your back and your neck. Karate, jiu-jitsu, others, you can talk to a martial artist and they will explain them to you. Someone who's running a school. But there's an anger inside you. And the teacher recognizes that, thinks, well, maybe I better help you get rid of that. And they let you work out a little extra in some special room. Well, there's other people and they're working out their anger. And they're angry about something else. That creates and coalesces together. And so there's this anger entity in the room. And you say, well, let's do a little sparring together. And you wind up kicking each other and hurting each other. That is the negative energy of all your anger, all his anger, all her anger, all that together. And then you start cage fighting. The minute you step out of the dojo, you're in trouble. The minute you start doing underhanded business negotiations, you're in trouble. Back out. Pull your money out if you can. If you can't, leave it there and say, stupid me. Do not engage in anything you wouldn't want God and the angels to see. Suppose you think, oh, I want to get married. I want to get married. I want to get married. I got to the point where I didn't care after my first divorce. I didn't want to go through that again. Extraordinary selfishness. And I've discovered something interesting. Giving people, those of us who like to give, who like to care and share, find and attract taking people. Those are the people who like to take from you. And you keep giving because you enjoy giving. And they keep taking because they enjoy taking. They're not going to go to another taker because they'll get whacked on the head and sent outside. They're going to find another giver. Both my 2 ex-husbands, totally different people, but one thing in common. both selfish and survival oriented for themselves. So therefore, if you say, I want to get married, I want to get married, I want to have children, I want to have children. No, that's not what you say. You want to say in your prayers, Heavenly Father, Divine Mother, if I am meant to be married in this lifetime, send me the exact right husband, wife, whatever you are, you want your partner, and make sure that person is kind, has all the good qualities that I have and maybe even better, and can teach me lessons that I need to learn. And we'll learn them together and we'll have a joyous life together. And if you want children, that he also wants children or she also wants children. I don't think anybody should have more than 2 kids. We have an extraordinary overpopulation. We could lose 5 billion people tomorrow and not miss them. The earth can support 1 billion people all around the earth. That's it. That's what it can support. You have 3 and 4 and 5 and 10 and 12 children. You have way overpopulated. There was a really nice story. I can't remember if it was in the magazine or on TV yesterday. A woman has 22 grandchildren. It's way too many people in that one little family.
Well, how many kids did she have?
That's a good question. They didn't say.
If she had 22 kids, yeah, or did she have 3?
I don't think she had 22.
Yeah.
I think somebody had 5 kids and 6 kids and 7 kids and 25 kids. You should not do more than replicating yourself. And that's even if you divorce and go somewhere else. Hold on. You've already had your 2 kids. Or if you've had 1, then you have 1 with somebody else, and that's it. What's your question?
So my question is, oh, it was there and it was gone. Okay, so how can we discern our sincere desire to have a family versus something that is going to trip us up because it's an Achilles heel that is actually evil presenting itself?
It's called getting to know yourself. And that's the first thing that everyone must do. There's a story with Jennifer Lopez about how she finally knows herself. Where has she been? You must know yourself. A lot of people keep a diary. I didn't bother keeping a diary because I knew my mother would find it and beat me up for that. She beat me up for everything else, so she would beat me up for that. So I could not put the truth in the diary because she would read it. And so therefore, keeping a diary is a really good idea. Talk about what you did and what you thought about. Was it a good idea? Was it not a good idea? Where did the idea come from? Was it a friend? Is it something you always thought? Is it something you truly wanted from your heart? And you get to know yourself by reviewing it. At the end of the year, review your diary starting last January. And think about what you knew and then do a recap. Start another diary for the new year. Know yourself. Is this your idea? Or was this your mother saying, oh, I always wanted grandchildren, but you didn't even think about that because you're going to be a doctor, or you're going to be a research scientist, or you're going to be an archaeologist. And disappearing parents make lousy parents. You just don't hatch them out like an egg. Children require constant nurturing. They require mothering and fathering. And that doesn't mean mothering and no fathering. It means mothering and fathering. I'm not discussing homosexuality at this point. This is not a discussion for it. I am discussing heterosexual relationships and the male-female energy of God. And so all of these little negative things that come at you, if something in your gut doesn't feel right, stop. Say, I'll see you tomorrow. I'll think about it. Go off by yourself and evaluate. Is this the thing you want to do if you were to die? Is this the very last word you want to utter? What are the words you want on your lips? What are the words, what are the deeds you want to be known by that you accomplished in the last few weeks of your life? Or months, if people have that kind of a memory. You have that memory. The problem with this planet is that more and more people create negativity because there are too many rats in the cage. And every science class has taught you that the rats turn on each other and eat each other. You can put 2 in a cage if it's large enough. If it's a really big cage, you can fit maybe 3 or 4, and they all have their own corners to go to and their own privacy, and they don't feel cramped. The minute one more rat gets added to the cage, there's chaos. On this planet, there is chaos. It's one of the reasons we have this pandemic. Nature is looking to thin out the herd, so to speak. May sound unpleasant, but if there are too many people, there's not enough water, there's not enough food, there's not enough shelter, there are not enough other resources. Too many people cause chaos and destruction. That's what's going on the planet as we speak. And that destruction goes to the blob, the black evil blob, and it becomes bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger until the balance starts to tip a little off. More negativity than positive. And then the people who are good and kind and are thinking, how can we create good? How can we make things better? Begin to get discouraged. Evil loves that.
5 minutes.
Loves you getting discouraged. It wants you to be discouraged because then you'll think, well, how can there really be a God if God let things go this far? God didn't let things go this far. God gave you free will, which I like to say is God's curse on humanity. Free will. If you use it in a good way, it's fabulous. If you use it in a bad way, it's a curse. And this evil thing, not Lucifer, the archangel, this evil entity, this Satan thing, this glob, this black nothingness, no light, no caring, no nurturing, no giving word, takes over and creates weather patterns, negative. Did you see? Do you watch PBS? Please watch PBS, people. Support PBS in your community. There's a program now running called Arctic Sinkholes. The Arctic is largely dissolved. And the earth is sinking in. Trees, boulders sinking into these giant holes, into lakes, into parts of the ocean. It's like the earth is collapsing into itself. What can you do? Stop having babies. Stop being greedy. No alcohol, no smoking, no drugs. By the way, what's keeping the cartels going? You are if you use drugs. You're keeping Mexico alive, the cartels. It's you. Yes, you should go to jail. And there shouldn't be any drugs, illicit drugs in prison. We have to eliminate the evil by visualizing good, by doing good. Because each good thing is noticed and builds upon itself. So then we can begin to tip the scales so that good is winning out over evil, and it's finally crushed the evil on this planet. I don't know that this planet will live long enough for that to happen. If it doesn't, the souls will go elsewhere to a planet that's compatible with ours here on Earth. There's no escaping. The soul doesn't disappear when you die, except for demons, because they do not have a soul from God. That is one of the things that's accurate in Lucifer, on the program Lucifer. Demons don't have souls. They were made from evil. God is not evil. God doesn't participate in any way. Neither do angels. So therefore, it will dissolve. It will be destroyed because it's not actual energy. It's a mixture of thought patterns that gets diminished as good takes over. It just goes poof and it's gone. And if it goes anywhere, it goes in a volcano. Or it goes in an Arctic sinkhole or a galactic sinkhole. It gets reborn as something else. And remember, think positive, think light. And if you just open up your hearts and minds to God's universal truth, you are going to know that God and the angels are always with you. Namaste. I'm Linda Bennett.